3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Now, there have been a lot of questions raised about security here, and before I came on, we were walking around and talking to security officials.
Castro, he's shaking hands with Raul Castro.
As Christian points out, President Obama just shook hands with Raul Castro from Cuba. Now,
Dilma
Christian,
Rousseff of Brazil.
what does that say as a
It
gesture?
says that this is a moment of reconciliation for Mandela, and President Obama is doing the diplomatic thing. He's not just going to walk by and ignore these people who are there, and they're all in a line. He's kissing now the UN Secretary General, President Zuma.
This is a man, and it is so true, who brought people together in life, and he continues to bring people together in death.
All right, there you go, folks. Welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show. Lots to talk about with our first guest, Senator Rand Paul. And, Senator, welcome again.
Hey, how are you doing? Thanks for having me.
It's always my pleasure. Okay, that was Christian Amanpour from CNN as they caught live on CNN this morning President Obama at the memorial service for Nelson Mandela in South Africa, shaking the hand of Raul Castro. Your reaction to that?
You know, I'm not sure exactly what to make of it or to make too much of it. Obviously, you know, I think that communism as an economic system has been a disaster for the Cuban people, and that would be a nice thing to hear from the president's lips sometime, but I don't think I've heard much pronouncements like that. In fact, I hear mostly that Obamacare's, modeling itself after the Cuban healthcare system, which isn't so good for America.
Well, of course, Congresswoman Ross Layton, who came from Cuba as a child, called the handshake nauseating. She said it was nothing but a propaganda coup for a tyrant. Marco Rubio also slammed it. I mean, do you think the president did the right thing? Or, I mean, they're holding an American in their jails, Alan Gross. They've been holding him for 4 years. Did the president do the right thing in shaking his hand? Or should he have shaken his hand and said, hey, release Alan Gross, or just walk by him, or what?
You know, I think sometimes we make more out of a symbolic thing like a handshake and less out of things that we ought to make, a big stew out of. And really the whole idea ought to be is we ought to be talking about, how Obamacare is different or the same than Cuban health care, and why we don't want to go the way Cuba has gone with communism and state ownership and running of virtually every industry. So I think sometimes that is probably maybe more important than the symbolism of a handshake. But I think it couldn't be more important that we differentiate and talk about how capitalism is a superior system to communism.
So are you saying then that it's no big deal?
Not really. I think what I'm saying is that maybe symbolism sometimes, I think sometimes substance is more important than symbolism.
No, I understand that, Senator. I'm just trying to get some kind of description from you from the actual act. Would you have done it?
I think it's hard to tell what people would do in an area of when you're at a funeral. It's sort of like you go up to your political opponent or someone who ran against you who was a communist and who you're at a funeral for their mother or for your mother. So I think there is something to be said for circumstances of things, whether you shake someone's hand. So I think I really wouldn't try to read too much into a handshake, but I would read something important into policy and statements over policy.
Okay, let's move on to policy. Boy, you've been clobbered by the left for your common sense approach, in my view, to unemployment extension or extension of unemployment benefits in any kind of new budget deal. Let's let you hear what Chris Matthews had to say about you. I believe so.
We are going to get all of.
No, that's not it. Okay, anyway, the Washington Post columnist said that you were the Scrooge. You win the Scrooge Award of the year. That was Ruth Marcus. Matthews blasted you. Andrea Mitchell blasted you. The left is blasting you. Your response and explain your position on unemployment benefits extensions.
Well, I would say that they're the ones who are unfeeling and uncaring. There was a study by Rand Guyad, and in that study, he showed that people who have been out of work less than 6 months but do not have appropriate skills for the particular job at hand are still hired more frequently than people who actually have the appropriate job skills but have been out of work more than 6 months. This is true throughout all of the statistics. All of the economic statistics show that once you go beyond 6 months, employers are choosing someone who's been unemployed less than 6 months, and that by extending the unemployment insurance, you're really creating a class of people who employers aren't excited about. So I am concerned about getting people back to work. I think work is one of the most important things you do for your self-esteem as well as for your whole spiritual nature, I think, is involved with work. I am concerned about that, and I think they want to trivialize this. But the thing is that by making unemployment 99 weeks, you're putting people into a category where employers are going to choose other workers who've been unemployed less long.
All right, let me ask you about the fact that the U.S. just ended their relationship with General Motors stock. And in doing so, it turns out that the government, that means everybody here, lost $10.5 billion from the bailout of General Motors. And, of course, the president goes around touting that we bailed out the auto industry as if it were a success. What's your take on the result of the bailout?
I think in capitalism you have companies that succeed and some that fail. And by doing that and allowing companies to fail, the ones who succeed end up being the ones who provide the cheapest product at the cheapest price and most efficiently. So, no, I think it's a mistake for government to get involved with these things. And really what typically happens through bankruptcy is you change management and you get new contracts and you become more efficient. It's happening all the time throughout all of our economy. And in this case, we didn't get new management. All we got was stuck with a $10 billion tab to the taxpayer.
Let me ask you about John Kerry testifying before the House today, wanting the Congress to halt any further sanctions, say it threatens the deal with Iran. It would make it a dead deal. Do you believe the Senate should pass sanctions at this point?
I've been a supporter of the sanctions, and I think the intention of the sanctions all along has been to get the Iranians to negotiate. So I do think now that they're negotiating, if the intentions of the sanctions was to get them to negotiate and to get them to change their behavior, it would be a mistake to have new sanctions in the middle of negotiations. However, I also think it would be a mistake to weaken the current sanctions without proof that they're going to be compliant with the negotiations. So really, I think that the way things should proceed, if they're going to negotiate in good faith, we should see some behavior before we weaken the sanctions.
All right. Now, you had told your wife, according to when you a couple of months ago when you were the cover story on our own Newsmax magazine, and in it said you told your wife when you ran for Senate, don't worry, there's a 10% chance I'm going to win. Now you were asked about whether or not you're going to run in 2016 the other day, and you said first, where's my cell phone? Let me first talk to my wife about it. Because you brought up your wife twice in two separate statements, probably years apart, is your family consideration the main consideration in deciding whether or not you'll run?
I think it's definitely one of the considerations, and I think there was a time in our history where we lived where the media completely left your family alone and really left everything alone other than your public life, even for the individual candidate. Now we've gone kind of the opposite, where every detail, not only of you, but your friends, your family, your neighbors, everything becomes fodder for the press. And does take a toll on people. So it is a consideration. Other considerations just are, where things are in about a year or so. And, I figure I have a lot to do in the next year that include, trying to get some legislation through, as well as trying to do things I can do to help to grow the party, as well as to, help improve the situation in my state.
And a scale of 1 to 10, how close you are to a decision? Not what the decision is, but how close, scale of 1 to 10.
I think it's hard to quantify it.
Okay.
And I think we'll know more probably, but it's going to take us the year to figure it out.
All right. Senator, always great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Take care. Senator Rand Paul, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right. He wouldn't really categorize the handshake. I think it's disgusting. But I respect him for not going there. We're coming back. Steve Emerson joins us. And wait till you hear about this. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll free at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, where we are joined right now by our friend Steve Emerson, Executive Director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism, who we don't have yet. We're going to effort him. I know he's No, he's driving around somewhere in his car. He did tell me that was going to happen. But he was on to talk about two things, and I want to run them by you, and hopefully he'll be able to join us within this segment. A British court yesterday heard yet another first-hand statement that jihadist terror attacks are motivated by radical Islamist religious beliefs, at least in this case. One of the two men charged, you remember the hacking of the British soldier, the soldier's name Lee Rigby. They hacked him to death in a brutal daylight attack in London last May. Well, he testified Monday telling the court he did kill Rigby, and he said, "My religion is everything. When I came to Islam, I realized that real success is not just what you can acquire, but really is if you make it to paradise, because then you can relax. To fight jihad for the sake of Allah is not something that's to be taken lightly, fun, or something like this." Joining us now is Steve Emerson, as I mentioned, the Executive Director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
How are you?
Good.
All right. So I just got finished reading the quote from the killer of Lee Rigby, and you're so right. This is a story posted on your website, and it is a disgrace, but it proves that the motivation behind many of these radical Islamists and these terrorist attacks are because they think they're doing it for Allah. They're going to die and they're going to go to heaven.
Absolutely. I mean, they're religiously inspired, and all efforts by the apologists for radical Islamic extremists to claim that this doesn't represent any religion, that it's just, waywardness or some deranged individual. They simply are apologizing and legitimizing acts of violence that are, to the killers, are very rational.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But you're right, because, we seem to think that if only these people had jobs, they'd be fine. It's poverty that causes this. And it's not. It really isn't. I haven't heard one of the,
poverty in other parts of the world, in South America, in India. I mean, then, you don't see suicide bombers there.
And not only that, Steve, how many of these people over the years have been doctors and lawyers and well-paid people in well-paid professions that have, gone over to jihad?
Well, in fact, in the Muslim world, the major members of the Muslim Brotherhood groups have been doctors, lawyers, engineers, physicians. They're not poor working class. They're upper middle class or even upper class. And the unions of the engineers, of the doctors, of the physicians, of the professionals have been dominated by the Muslim Brotherhood, whose motto, of course, is jihad, and dying for Allah is the only way we can survive. So the notion somehow that it's either the Arab-Israeli conflict, if you just solve that, or if Israel just withdraws from someplace, or if the United States doesn't use drones or something, or if there's some type of progress that makes the Muslims who feel humiliated. The reason they feel humiliated, it's not all Muslims. We're talking about a minority here, but those that are the extremists feel humiliated because they're not in control of the world. That's the only way they're going to feel unhumiliated.
All right, we have a time for one more story here, and this is an exclusive to your website, IPT, and it involves a name from the past almost, Sami El-Arian. He was on Capitol Hill attending a hearing the other day, about a group promoting an effort to promote the Muslim Brotherhood, correct? Tell the folks who Sami El-Arian is.
Sami El-Arian was a professor at the University of South Florida in Tampa, but in the 1990s, and during that time he was head of the Palestine Islamic Jihad Network in the United States, actually worldwide, and he operated from the safety and protection of being a professor, claiming that he had nothing to do with terrorism. In fact, in the trial that was held in 2003, he was found guilty, or he pled guilty actually, to a charge of being a senior member of the Islamic Jihad. And he was sentenced to jail. Then he was flown up to Washington to testify in a grand jury about terrorism. He refused to. He was jailed for that. But some liberal judge released him from jail, even though this guy is a cold-blooded killer, and took away his ankle bracelet, which is what the precondition was for his being released from jail. And now he's walking a free man, operating hearings, organizing hearings in Congress, which is unbelievable.
It's unfathomable. It is. We are becoming. I mean, I can't even tell you what we're becoming. I mean, it's like you fell asleep, you woke up, and you don't know where you are. Let me ask you your take on the latest. I mean, he didn't bow, really. He did have to bend down to shake his hand, so some people might be calling it a bow. But Obama's handshake of Raul Castro today in South Africa at the funeral or the memorial service for Nelson Mandela.
This is news to me. Well, it shouldn't be news to me. Remember, he bowed down to the king of Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, that was another despot. I don't think he's ever met a totalitarian leader he didn't like.
Yeah, that's pretty much the
problem.
case. Yeah,
I mean, I think that his problem is that he values. This is part of the left valuing totalitarianism more than they value real, true democracy with its pluralism.
Yeah. All right.
Only pluralism if you're a radical.
Steve, always great to talk to you, sir. We'll speak to you soon.
Okay, bye, Steve.
Bye-bye. Take care. Steve Emerson, Executive Director of the Investigative Project on Terrorism. We apologize for that. Every few seconds, his voice. It was almost like one of these radio commercials or something where a part of it is in a real voice and it goes, into a little echo chamber or something. Anyway, but I understood him. I hope you did too. And when we come back, we're going to talk to our friend Christopher Parker, professor of social justice and political science, University of Washington. Is Obamacare a racist term? And we'll talk about that with him, tell you who said that it is. And we'll talk about the legacy of Nelson Mandela. I'm sure he'll weigh in on the handshake. All that straight ahead right here for your viewing and listening pleasure on the show they call the Steve Malzberg Show, right here on Newsmax TV and radio. Don't go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Constipation, gas, bloating, most people suffer through. But now there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Bactipro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Bactipro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Bactipro.com/special.
1-800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
I want to talk today about a controversial word. It's a word that has been with us for years. And like it or not, it's indelibly printed in the pages of American history. A word that was originally intended as a derogatory term, meant to shame and divide and demean. The word was conceived of by a group of wealthy white men who needed a way to put themselves above and apart from a black man, to render him inferior and unequal, and to diminish his accomplishments. President Obama has been labeled with this word by his opponents. And at first, he rose above it, hoping that if he could just make a cause for what he'd achieved, his opponents would fail in making their label stick. But no matter how many successes that he had as president, he realized there were still many people for whom he'd never be anything more than that one disparaging word.
Oh, poor Barack Obama. This has never happened to anyone else before. That's Melissa Harris Perry. And let me just put my personal 2 cents in right off the bat for her analogy here. Cuckoo! Joining us now to talk about this and so much more is our friend Christopher Parker, professor of social justice and political science at the University of Washington. Hello, Christopher.
Hey, what's going on, Steve?
How are you?
I'm still breathing. How about yourself?
Me too. Last I checked. Yeah, I think so. All right. Now, you know, to sit there and play the race card because people dubbed the Affordable Health Care Act Obamacare, a term which he said, I'm going to, yeah, it's Obamacare. I'm proud of it. After people called Romney Care, and after they called Hillary's proposal back in the 90s Hillary Care. How on earth does this become something concocted by evil white men who want to, you know, destroy the president? I mean, this is just so ludicrous that I can't even fathom that she wants to be taken seriously.
You mean calling it Obamacare or calling him something else?
No, what do you mean calling? No, calling it Obamacare. She says he's identified by that word, and they're at the effort. Of course, it's racist, that word.
Oh, well, you know, my take on this is, as soon as the president started calling it Obamacare, and he is calling it as such, the Affordable Care Act, and he adopted the term, as far as I'm concerned, that conversation was over.
Yeah, but what if he didn't adopt it himself and use it? They called Hillary didn't call it Hillary Care. The media and people dubbed it Hillary Care. Romney didn't call it Romney Care. There was a name for that bill too. But during the whole election, and maybe even the president himself during the campaign, everyone called it Romney Care. So is that racist too?
Well, I mean, I think racism might be a little strong, but it does cue people when you have Obama Care, right? It shows that when you prime it with Obama, that the support for it shrinks undeniably.
Right,
It really
because
plummets.
people don't trust or like the president right now, and that of course it shrinks. But again, but her whole premise is that white men came up with this because they're so ingenious and hateful, as if it didn't happen last year during the campaign and in the 90s with Hillary. I mean, I never heard anything so ridiculous in my life.
Well, I don't know how ridiculous that is. I wouldn't necessarily call it ridiculous, right? There have been many studies, Steve, that show that anytime they use Obama as a prime in these field experiments, that it causes support for anything to go down, right? When they present the Affordable Care Act in its components, I mean, it gets pretty overwhelming support. As soon as it's primed as Obamacare, then it goes completely down.
Okay, but it goes down because maybe people don't even know what the Affordable Health Care Act is. It's been so commonly known as Obamacare. But that's not the point. The point is she's crying racism by saying that white men came up with this term. Again, I ask you, who came up with Romney Care? Who came up with Hillary Care? If this were the first time anything like this were ever done, you could say, oh, but it's been done on health care before to Clinton and Romney, and they're white. So what is this?
Well, that's undeniable. It's happened before with other folks. There's no question about that, right? So I can't even really speak to that. That's not something I'm prepared to speak on. I thought we were going to discuss something else about Mandela.
Oh,
but
we will. But okay. I thought this was part of it. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's to me this is a done deal because these are counterfactuals, right? Not counterfactual in the sense that these other terms, derisive terms, weren't devised by white men, right? That's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned, because as soon as Obama started calling Obamacare himself, game over.
All right. All right. Well, to me, game over from the beginning, whether he adopted it or not, because it's been done in the past and as recently as a year ago to Governor Romney. But that aside, I mean, I don't want you to sit here and try to defend, Melissa Harris Perry for what's, in my view, indefensible.
Well, she's actually a good friend of mine.
Yeah. Well, she also said that kids don't belong to their parent. I mean, I could go down the list of cockamamie things she said. Having said that, let's go on to Nelson Mandela. I mean, I was prepared to also talk about Torre and Don Lemon, but we'll go back to that. Mandela, you want to talk about the handshake? Is that what you thought we would also discuss?
No. I thought we were going to discuss, how, these right wingers are suggesting that Nelson Mandela was a terrorist.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Well, I don't think it's only right wingers. The United States government, up until 2008, there were many left wingers who have taken Mandela to task for not doing enough on AIDS and HIV.
I'm talking about saying he's a terrorist, Steve.
Yeah, the ANC was a terrorist organization. It was classified as a terrorist organization, and as a matter of fact, he could have gotten out of jail prior to the 27 years if he had renounced terrorism, according to the reports I've heard, and he refused to do so. So while he started out in a peaceful manner, and to his credit, and there's a lot to this man's credit, he started out peacefully and was driven to what he felt he needed to do because of a massacre of the peaceful protesters. And when he saw that, they took a different track. And when he got out of prison, he could have sought revenge, but didn't. So there's a lot to admire about him. But it's undeniable that the group that he headed did commit acts of terror. I mean, you're going to deny that?
Well, okay, so then what would you call the founding fathers?
I'm talking about Nelson Mandela.
No. I know what you're saying, but the concept is similar, right? We're talking about revolutionary change, right? And so if you call a Mandela a terrorist or the ANC a terrorist, right, we need to call the founding fathers terrorists too.
Really? So if I call Yasser Arafat a terrorist, then I need to call the founding fathers terrorists? If I call Al Qaeda terrorists, I need to call the founding fathers terrorists. I don't follow your line. I don't follow your line of thinking. If
we're talking about freedom, Steve, and democracy, right? That's what the founding fathers wanted, right?
And killing civilians and blowing up railroads and different things.
Wait! But we're talking about freedom and democracy, right? Are we talking about the same thing?
Well, no, we're not. We're not talking about specifically the same thing. No, we're not.
No, but the founding fathers fought for freedom and democracy, right?
Yeah. Well, how are they terrorists exactly?
They're terrorists because
how is the Revolutionary War terrorism?
That's a war, just like Mandela. He was prosecuting a war with the weapons he had at his disposal.
Oh, so turning it on civilian targets and on civilians is acceptable. Is that what you're saying? And that's the same as a conventional war. Is that what you're saying?
Are you?
You got to answer my question before I answer yours.
I'm not aware of any instances in which Mandela used.
I'm not
ANC.
I'm not talking Mandela specifically. I'm talking about the ANC. The ANC was classified up until I believe 2008 by this country. That means Bill Clinton too, as a terrorist group. So is Bill Clinton some kind of right-wing bigot or anti-black, or how would you describe Bill Clinton?
Well, this is what I'm talking about, Steve. What I'm trying to discuss here is the fact that on Newt Gingrich's site and Ted Cruz's site,
they praised Mandela.
They did.
Yeah.
Right? But what about I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the backlash they got from these right-wing nutcases who were calling Mandela a terrorist.
So what? So what? Who are they? Do you know who they are? Maybe they were left-wingers posing as right-wingers.
Oh,
do you know? Wait, Professor, do you know these people? Don't you know that that's a common tactic to show up at rallies for one side or the other, cause a scene, and make like you're one of that group, say horrific things? How do you know who these people were?
So are you saying that the Tea Partiers that showed up at the debate over the Affordable Care Act, are you saying that some of those were left-wingers that spat on these legislatures?
Oh, that never, my friend. There was rewards. There was money put up. There was money put up to show any video or sound proof of any black legislator being spat upon or being called any name, and nobody ever found it. Have you seen the tape or heard the tape of any of that? I haven't.
I've seen it.
Really? Really? Where'd you see it?
Hey,
I'd like to know where you saw it. Where'd you see it?
I will download it and send a link.
Please do. Please do. In Washington, when they were marching with Nancy Pelosi with the gavel, they were spat upon and cursed at. I want to see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll show it to you.
Okay, great. Fair enough. Fair enough. So we will see that. But blaming people who post on websites, I mean, then I could say, hey, the liberals who called for Dick Cheney's death and celebrated Tony Snow's death and all this kind of, and said kill Bush. So who should I put them up next to? Who should I blame for their crazy, sick, demented views?
That stuff was way out of bounds as far as.
So then why? So then what's this all about then?
Well, what this is all about is that their constituents, right?
How do you know they're their constituents?
Oh, come on! Do you think left wingers are going to be trolling their blogs?
I don't know if the left wingers posted it, but will left wingers go look on Ted Cruz's website and Twitter's or whatever? Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Oh.
Apps. They want to destroy him.
And you know this as you asked me for some empirical facts. So you're gonna offer me some empirical facts?
No, I believe. Do I think? Yeah, I believe with all my heart that left wingers go on Ted Cruz's website, Twitter account, and see what he says. No, but neither do you. But neither do you.
No. I'm gonna show you. No, Steve. I'm gonna send you.
Wait. No. You're gonna you're showing me. You're sending me a video link to something completely different. You don't know who posted on Ted Cruz's website or on Newt Gingrich's website, do you?
I cannot.
Then we're even in that. Then we're even.
I could not say that for a fact.
Okay, then we are even. All right. What's with Toure tweeting out that Don Lemon of CNN is a white leader? What is that about?
I can't. You know what? This is the first I'm hearing about this.
Yeah.
I haven't heard about that, but I can venture a guess.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, Don Lemon is black. For people who don't know, he's on CNN. Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely positively think it's abhorrent that he would do something like that. That Toure would do something like that. I think it's abhorrent.
But you said you think you know what it's about, so tell me. I want to know.
I
have an inquiring mind, Professor. I want to know.
I think the possibility exists that Toure perhaps thinks Don Lemon is a sellout. That's what I think.
And what is a sellout exactly?
Someone who rejects their racial identity.
And how do you reject your racial identity? Does he go around saying I'm white, or he just?
Of course not.
You mean he works for CNN and he has a show and he's not an Al Sharpton disciple? That makes him a sellout?
I'm just stating a sort of broad sort of premise.
Isn't that the most horrific kind of racism that there is? Thinking that a black person needs to be a certain way, or he's not really black?
Yeah, I think there are issues that are associated with that. Yes, I do.
All right. Well, I like when we agree to agree instead of agreeing to disagree, which we did both of those today. Hey, Professor, good having you on for the long segment. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem, Steve.
Take care. Christopher Parker, ladies and gentlemen, professor of social justice and political science at the University of Washington. Also has that book on the Tea Party. Is it Change They Can't Believe In? I think so. Anyway, we're coming back, and we're going to be joined by Peter Schweitzer, fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution. And we're going to talk about just how little the interaction was, as we brought up yesterday, between Kathleen Sebelius and Barack Obama in 3 years and 4 months since they passed health care. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy's stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison, a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality, and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
Have you hit a brick wall with your weight loss? Does your weight management plan need an extra edge for success? If so, listen up. Metabio is the revolutionary weight loss breakthrough designed to help you reach your goal weight as part of your diet and exercise program. Metabio is the premium nutritional supplement power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. When used as part of a healthy lifestyle, each component is formulated to help you reach your goals and maintain your optimal weight and wellness. It supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. Now, learn how you can try a 30-day supply of Metabio. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/special. Act now and also receive instant access to our downloadable special report, a practical guide to healthy weight management. Try it now at themetabio.com/special. That's the metabio.com/special. While supplies last. themetabio.com/special.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll free at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, and welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about this, but we're going to go in depth with the author of a great piece called When Barry Met Kathy. And it's Peter Schweitzer, fellow at Stanford University's Hoover Institution and president of the Government Accountability Institute. Hello, Peter.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Good to talk to you. All right, a very clever headline there, whether you wrote it or not. This is from Politico in the Arena, and if you had told me that since the rollout on October 1st, that Barack Obama and Kathleen Sebelius had not sat down together one-on-one and had a chat at least in the 2 months ending November 30th, I would have said, get out of here. But you're telling me that it's been in 3 years and over 4 months, they've sat down together once.
Yeah, it's pretty stunning. The credit for the headline, by the way, goes to Politico.
Then I don't like it. Then I'm not giving it to you. Only kidding.
No, but it's very stunning. What we did, Steve, was we looked at the president's public calendar, which is what they release to the public and to the media. And we all understand there's a PR mode here. They want to show that the president is engaged and is working and busy. And it shows 278 meetings with cabinet officials. And it doesn't show any with Sebelius except for one way back in 2010. And it's pretty stunning. Their explanation in response has been, they were pressed by ABC News and NBC News at a press conference. Jay Carney said, we don't put all those on the calendar. They meet all the time. What we're simply asking for them to do is then you should release the schedule, because there is a schedule that is kept by the president's secretary. They keep track of every minute, every phone call, every meeting that he has. Simply release, because the American people need to know, was the president engaged? Was he aware of the Obamacare problems as they were emerging even before the rollout in October? Or was he completely and totally detached? Because right now the evidence is that he was completely detached from it.
Yeah, and on your signature issue, the issue that you'll be remembered for, throughout your historical, look back, it just seems mind-boggling, and it's not as if. So you might say, well, Peter, maybe the president doesn't meet one-on-one, with private meetings with cabinet members, and of course, you found out that he had almost 300 private meetings with other cabinet members during that time period.
Yeah, here's the scary part. He had 2 meetings with the Navy secretary. Now, I love the Navy, and I'm not saying he shouldn't meet with the Navy secretary, but if he's meeting 2 times with the Navy secretary in the White House, and that's on his calendar, but there's not really any one-on-one meetings with Sebelius, the question becomes why? This is his signature achievement. I certainly have, major concerns about Obamacare, but set aside the politics of it. This is his signature issue upon which he is defining his presidency. And the fact that you are meeting with your, Navy secretary, you're meeting with the secretary of HUD or other cabinet level members of your administration, and you're not meeting with the HHS secretary, that is deeply troubling about his leadership style. And the problem, Steve, is that, one could say, well, the president doesn't have experiences in executive, and maybe, he's kind of learning the ropes, as it were, in the Oval Office. But the troubling part is then a president like that, one would expect to have people around him that would say, you need to be engaged. Here's how you work in the executive sphere. But instead, you have aides around that are, saying and have said in interviews, well, he gets bored by these details.
Right. In fact, you quote in your piece, Peter, Valerie Jarrett as saying that, he's been bored his whole life because basically, I guess, he's the smartest guy in the world. He's the smartest guy in every room. Nobody can keep up with him. And he's bored by everybody. They have nothing to offer. And so why even talk to people? And then he goes out, and as you also point out in your column, and I remember playing this soundbite, he goes around and he says, well, I wouldn't have, back on November 14th, he said, if I had been informed that the website wouldn't work, I wouldn't have been out there promising Amazon.com, blah, blah, blah. I may be a lot of things, but I'm not stupid. Well, that's exactly what he did, and if he didn't know, now we know it's his own fault.
Yeah, and this is really, I think, why the White House is just wants this issue to go away, and why they give these sorts of vague responses. They sort of attack us and say, well, the numbers aren't right and there have been meetings, but we're not going to tell you, is that he is kind of in a difficult spot. I mean, on the one hand, if he is completely not engaged, it shows a complete failure of leadership. And I think the point we have to remember is, the focus has been so much on this as a technological failure. It's not a technological failure. Pearl Harbor was not a military technology failure. It was a leadership failure that somehow our command did not see that attack coming.
Yeah.
It's the same thing here. It's a leadership question. But on the other hand, if he was secretly engaged and had all these private, secretive meetings, when he said that he didn't know about it, he wasn't being honest.
Right.
And so he's backed into a corner.
Right. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, right. He can't. There's no way out of this that turns out good for him. But the sad part, Peter, I don't really think he cares. He's just out to change us, and he's got 3 more years to do it, and he's going to keep doing it, and he doesn't really care. Peter, I thank you as always for your time. Good to talk to you.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Take
Merry
care.
Christmas to you.
You too. Merry Christmas. Peter Schweitzer, fellow, Stanford University's Hoover Institution, president of the Government Accountability Institute. When Barry met Kathy once in the past 3 years and 4 months. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MyTV. 1-855-625-MyTV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MyTV. 1-855-625-MyTV.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Dozens of world leaders are in South Africa today to celebrate the life of iconic anti-apartheid leader Nelson Mandela. During the ceremony, President Obama raised some eyebrows by shaking hands with Cuban President Raul Castro. Castro smiled during the rare contact between the two. Obama was joined by Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton as part of the U.S. delegation. South African President Jacob Zuma and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon also took part in the ceremony that took on a celebratory mood. In an address that drew thunderous applause, President Obama called on South Africans to apply the lessons of Mandela and act on his behalf and on the behalf of peace and justice.
While I will always fall short of Madiba's example, he makes me want to be a better man.
Meanwhile, back in Washington, Secretary of State John Kerry is trying to convince Congress to stall new sanctions against Iran. Kerry is testifying today in the midst of a strong push from a bipartisan group of senators for new sanctions against the Islamic Republic. The administration is fiercely opposed to the idea of any sanctions in this stage of the game, any new sanctions. Iran is counting on both sides to respect the Geneva Agreement so they can build confidence after 4 decades of poisonous relations. Iran's deputy foreign minister recently said that more sanctions could force that temporary thaw in the relationship to come to a close.
We do not trust what the American government does, and it is natural that the same feeling is there in America. What is important for the time being is we are entering into a new phase.
Also in D.C., Congress is working on a budget deal that could be announced this week. That deal could include an uptick in airline fees for customers to cover the rising cost of security at airports. And another partial shutdown of the government in Washington this week, but this time the weather is to blame. Non-emergency government workers were told to stay home Tuesday as the region continues to be pounded by snow and ice. Public schools in a number of areas, including Washington, as well as Philadelphia and parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, are also closed because of winter weather. The snow comes on the heels of this weekend's winter storm, which dumped several inches of snow on Philly and northern Maryland, as well as other parts of the country. And investigators continue to search for a family missing in the remote parts of Nevada. James Glanton and Christina McEntee, their 2 kids, along with a niece and nephew, reportedly went sledding on Sunday, but they never returned home. Meanwhile, temperatures in the area have plummeted to well below freezing. These 6 people were last seen in a silver Jeep about 20 miles from their home. And next up, a Newsmax exclusive with former Ohio Attorney General Ken Blackwell. House Speaker John Boehner says the GOP needs to be more sensitive to women. What does Blackwell have to say about that? Plus, an immigrant is rescued at sea. Next, the latest on the Coast Guard's search for others.
Men, this is the time in your life when you have more freedom to travel, more time for leisure, including an active lifestyle, even a renewed intimacy. The last thing you want is the hassle of an aging prostate. Frequent trips to the bathroom also keep you awake at night. But here's good news. Renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein believes that prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. Learn more about how you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit prostaterevive.com/special for complete details. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate, while supplies last. Try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/special. That's prostaterevive.com/special.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement.
You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system.
Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
And the U.S. Coast Guard found the body of a suspected immigrant and rescued another off the coast of South Florida today. Officials say the rescued 42-year-old man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. That man was found aboard a homemade raft of 4 inner tubes tied together. He told the Coast Guard that 3 other people were also in the raft with him. The Coast Guard is still searching for those who are not yet accounted for. And Republicans are quote-unquote foolish to respond to complaints the GOP is waging a war on women, says Ken Blackwell, a former Ohio Secretary of State. He told Newsmax TV this during an exclusive interview. Blackwell's comments come just days after House Speaker John Boehner said the Republican Party must be more sensitive to women.
It would take someone with his or her head stuck in the ground to say that Republicans have a difficult time of communicating their message.
That's it for this edition of your Newsmax Now Update. I'm John Bachman. The Steve Malzberg Show is live now from New York.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour number 2. We do this every so often, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hook up right now live on the Tom Hartman Show, #1 rated liberal talk host in America. So his show will be on our air, and our air will be on his show, and we're going to be one big happy family. Hello, Tom.
Hey, Steve.
How are you? That was easy. How are you?
Indeed, I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good, good.
Okay, so we have the World Bank saying every country in the world should have a universal health care.
Yeah, I know, but I told you guys I don't want to talk about the World Bank.
And you've got the Pope saying.
See, that's a snooze fest, the World Bank.
Pardon?
The World Bank is a snooze fest. Who wants to hear about that? Who cares?
Well, let's talk about this principle of a national health care program, of every person having health care. There are really 2 issues here, aren't there? I mean, isn't there the issue of, okay, you broke your arm, what are you going to do about that? Right? The individual, somebody got sick. But then there's the issue of, if you're walking down the street or if you're taking the bus someplace and the guy next to you is coughing, do you really want him to have tuberculosis? Because he doesn't have
Okay, all right. Well, first of all, I don't know what country you're in or what country the World Bank is worried about, but people in the United States don't get tuberculosis.
Actually, the 2
except for
tuberculosis hotspots in the United States, Steve, Los Angeles and New York City.
Okay, well, there's a reason for that too, because we have a lot of illegals in both those places, I'm sure. Am I allowed to say illegals?
That's not the largest part of the population.
Okay, I didn't say it's the largest part of the population, but let me finish. Nobody's denied medical care in this country, so period, the end. And in an effort to sign people up so that you could claim, we have universal health care coverage, which is never going to happen because people aren't signing up and they're not going to sign up. You're screwing with the insurance that over 100 million people have and like and depend on and can afford. That's going bye-bye. Did you see the CBS story? They finally said something I've been saying for weeks. Wait till these people who get subsidies on their premiums and these young people who could get it for $30 a month, wait till they learn the word deductible. You see, they're talking now about $5,000 plus deductibles for the average policy on Obamacare. No one could afford that. This is a disaster, Tom, a disaster.
So you're saying, Steve, that we should be giving everybody health insurance that has no deductibles. I agree with you.
No, I'm saying let the free market reign and keep it the way it was, but only open it up even more. Let people buy. Let people in California be able to shop across state lines to other states, and let people all over the country, insurance companies, compete for the services of people in every state. Free market will solve all this. It always has, and it always will.
Like it magically has. That's why we've had such great health care.
We have had the best health care in the world. And you talk to the 100 million who are going to lose it in 2014, and they'll tell you, guess what? The latest polls show that 70% of Americans like their insurance, want to keep their insurance, like the liar-in-chief said we could. But we can't, because he knows, and I guess you too, Tom, know what's best for all of us. So you, Tom, will have maternity coverage. Isn't that lovely? And you'll pay for it, whether you like it or not. That's just wonderful, Tom.
Basic principle of insurance that everybody's in. Either everybody's in or they're not. I mean, that's why it's called insurance, as opposed
really
to,
insurance means everybody's in or they're not. That car insurance is everybody you know has a car insurance, whether they have a car or not. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't have a car, but all of
Well, I don't need maternity coverage, but I'm being forced to get it. But I don't need maternity coverage, but I'm being forced to get it.
And women are being forced to cover prostate cancer, and they don't have prostates. But
that's
so what?
that's insane. That's insane. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
You actually don't have maternity coverage.
Excuse me?
If you showed up at a hospital saying, I want to see a gynecologist because I think I'm 4 months pregnant, they would laugh you out of the hospital.
No, you're paying. The policies that are being canceled are going to be canceled, especially the 100 million with the employer mandate in the next year, or the 6 or 7 or 8 million that have been canceled. They've been canceled because they don't meet all of Obama's standards. And that means everybody has to have coverage for drug rehabilitation. Everybody has to have coverage for maternity, all these things.
You want unrehabilitated drug addicts running around on the streets loose?
No, I don't want to have to pay for rehabilitation coverage for myself or my family if we don't need it. You know what? If I had a 67 Chevy and it was beat up, I wouldn't get collision, Tom. I wouldn't pay for collision. Would you? Tom, would you pay for collision on a car that was worth $100?
So are you saying, Steve, that if you don't have children, you shouldn't have to pay property taxes to cover?
You know what? This is what I love about the left. What are you talking about? But by extension, I make a statement involving an issue that you address, and then because you can't come back with a cogent response relating to that issue, you say, oh, so you're saying in China, if they sit on the park bench in the wintertime, their feet will get cold. Right, that's exactly what I said, Tom.
You said if you don't need something, you shouldn't have to pay for it. So I'm saying, okay, let's apply that to schools. Are you saying that if you don't have children, you shouldn't have to pay property taxes for your local schools?
Property taxes go for many different things, my friend.
Should you be
I
able
am
to
not. Look, we had a system of health care in this country where 2/3 or more of the people liked the coverage they had, and 2/3 or more of the people used the coverage they had, and now the entire system is unworkable thanks to the big hand of government, who are forcing people to take what the government says is best for you.
Right,
and that's not the way America works.
That's why I'm saying let's take Medicare, which operates
that what you said? First time you said it.
Overhead system, as opposed to 20 or 25% overhead for all these for-profit companies. And I mean, I don't understand why we're paying for Stephen Hemsley to become more than a billionaire. You know, the owner of. Or the CEO
I know. Everybody should make the same and live in the same houses and drive the same cars. You get along great with President Obama. You'd get along great with Obama. I thought we were going to talk about the fact that you said you can't be Catholic and be a Republican, which was an outrageous thing to say, but I guess that's why you said it.
Well,
that's when I approached your producer, and that's what I said I wanted to talk about. You come on with the World Bank. I mean, don't put me to sleep.
I was halfway through my sentence. I was going to say the World Bank and the Pope are talking about.
Oh, the World Bank and the Pope. Okay. But I'm not talking about what the Pope said. I'm talking about what you said. You said you can't be Catholic and be a Republican, did you not? So what do you say to the millions of Catholic Republicans? They don't exist?
I would say that they're probably not practicing their faith the way that their Pope understands it.
Okay, so you know best on how they should be practicing their faith. Obama knows best on how we should have our health care run. You fit right in with him. How come you're not in his cabinet? He could get you through with 51 votes. You know that? He could put you on the bench. 51 votes, he could put you on the bench. You fit right in. You know what's best. You know how people should worship their religion. He knows what people should do for themselves and for everybody else. He knows best. You know best. It's great.
If you are trying to rebut the concept of judicial review, that the Supreme Court has become basically the kings of America, they actually have more power than any of the kings or queens of Europe. And if you're saying that they shouldn't have that kind of power, that they should not be able to strike down laws passed by Congress and signed by the president, I agree with you.
See, even though we agree, that's not what I'm saying. Even though you think we agree. No, even though you think we agree, I'm not saying I agree. I wasn't talking about that. Why do you always change the subject?
Well,
why can't you address what I'm saying? You said
Steve.
that people can't be Catholic and be Republican. And when I say, what about the Catholic Republicans, millions of them, you say they're probably not practicing their religion
I'm not
correctly.
denying the reality of Catholic Republicans. What I'm suggesting is that somebody who is voting Republican and believes that they're practicing the Catholic faith is doing so in a way that's inconsistent with the current Pope.
Are you Catholic?
I'm not.
All right.
That's
Well,
why I
then,
said
it's really a mockery. Why don't you tell Muslims how they're practicing? I bet you wouldn't be doing that.
Well, I don't know.
No, you wouldn't.
Steve
Hey,
Malzberg
always a great thing to talk to you,
is
Tom. It's a wonderful thing.
Malzbergtalk.com.
All
Thank
right,
you, Steve.
folks. Thank you, Tom. Just incredible. Folks, I don't know why I do it. No, I like doing it because it proves the lunacy of the left. Everything I bring up, he goes to another subject. He knows best he knows what's best for Catholics, how they should practice, who they are, what they're practicing. He's not Catholic. Now, I weigh in on issues, but I don't tell Catholics, I don't judge how they're practicing their religion. It's insane. It is insane. The left is insane. But I love Tom. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
And welcome back to the, aforementioned Steve Malzberg Show. Well, it's going to be a tough act to follow, the Tom Hartman segment, but Daniel Greenfield, Front Page Magazine columnist, will try his best, and so will I. He joins us now. Hello, Daniel.
Hi. Good to be on.
Thank you. Good to talk to you. All right, very intriguing piece. Why Hillary will lose again. Of course, the reference to last time around in 2008 when she ran for the presidency. And, you start by talking about how hardly a week goes by, especially a few weeks ago this was true, where she didn't win an award or making some kind of speech she was getting $750,000 for, and it was presented as news, or similar speech, and the media is banned from going in there. So what is her strategy here, and why do you think she's going to lose?
Hillary doesn't actually have any basis. She's a weak candidate. She hasn't actually accomplished anything. People are looking at Kerry now. Kerry's making mistakes, but he's going over. He's taking risks. He's doing things. And people are looking at Hillary's term as Secretary of State, and they can't find anything that she actually did. So to cover that, she has to get all these awards. She has to make herself look like she's an incredibly accomplished and important person, when really nobody can point to anything that she actually did of accomplishment.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned Kerry, Daniel, because there's a story out today that says if Hillary doesn't run, John Kerry is talking about running again. So, and someone told me today that Mitt Romney is putting out feelers to see if he'd be accepted to run again. So that would be bizarre. But you're right. You document some of the awards she's actually gotten in her post-Secretary of State life, and these are awards for which she did nothing to earn them.
It's absolutely ridiculous. The Bar Association gave her an award for immense accomplishments as a lawyer. They didn't bother to actually define those. You've got the president of Georgia giving her the Order of the Golden Fleece, which has a whole different meaning around here because people still remember Whitewater. She's been honored by the National Defense University as an American patriot. She's gotten a whole bunch of awards just basically for showing up. If she says something, she says that a disease is bad, right away they give her an award for fighting the disease.
Yeah, and you're right, the Elton John Foundation, where she announced we still have a long way to go, and you're right, that's what people who have never had AIDS or treated AIDS have been saying while receiving AIDS awards since the disease first became a celebrity issue. But talk about, okay, do you think that first of all, do you foresee a primary challenge? You must, of any significance, and would that be from the left in the person of an Elizabeth Warren or someone similar? And is that who you think, from the left, someone will come and beat her in the primaries?
There's absolutely going to be a primary challenge, especially since it worked last time. If it worked last time, why not try again? Elizabeth Warren is pledging not to run,
right.
But again, do you actually believe anything Elizabeth Warren says? I don't, actually.
Well, she's an she's a Native American, isn't she?
She speaks with forked tongue. But the left absolutely wants someone to run against Hillary. They don't like her, so they're going to put somebody up. The question is how effective they're going to be. If they dig up another Obama, then she might just be toast over again, which is what she's really paranoid about.
Well, I think it'd be too soon, although he would be following virtually the same well, not the same path. Obama was never mayor, but Cory Booker, I don't think he'd be ready at that point. And he wouldn't face Hillary anyway. But it's interesting. So if Hillary, do you think that? I mean, I guess it wouldn't be unless it's a general election. In other words, if Elizabeth Warren or an Elizabeth Warren-like figure showed up in the primaries, they would attack Hillary how?
Well, first of all, just to get back to that, I don't think that being ready even matters anymore. Obama was in the Senate for about 100 days before he was running, so we could very well see somebody who would get selected in 2014 and is just going to run against Hillary anyway. But the main point of attack is that really there's nothing to show for that. Hillary is an illusion. Once you actually ask her to point to any accomplishments, the whole thing collapses. So the main point of attack, again, is that a candidate running against her can stand for something while she goes on standing for nothing. And it was very effective. Obama ran to the left of her, and he beat her on just that because he actually staked out some positions. He sold out most of those positions, but he actually did stake them out. Hillary doesn't really stake out positions. She recites cliches and expects everybody to honor her because she's Hillary.
We're talking to Daniel Greenfield, the columnist for Front Page Magazine, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. But let me ask you this: see, Obama is black, and he was he became the hero of the media, the darling of the media, let's say. He was allowed, to say things that would never be accused of being a sexist. Where even Ted Roll, the liberal cartoonist on this show the other week, told me that if Hillary's the nominee, then sexism will become the new racism. They'll accuse you of it every time you disagree with her. So if it's some white guy, let's say, liberal white guy who runs against Hillary in the primaries, can't we expect the media to coalesce around her and protect her the way they did Obama in 2008?
Only in a national election. In a national election, and if Hillary wins, there's going to be 8 years of nonstop accusations of sexism over everything. But in a primary, if the media, which tends to the left, doesn't stand behind her, then all the sexism stuff is not going to work. The Obama people did some very sexist stuff to Hillary back during the primaries. It did not harm them in the least.
All right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And finally, if it is a general election, if she does win the primary, can she still lose to a Republican candidate?
Absolutely, because, again, she's sort of like McCain. She's one of these establishment people who have been around for a while, and they just show up and they expect to be honored because they're just showing up. And if a candidate really takes on an insurgent position and really aggressively pushes an actual position, then she's going to lose because she stands for nothing.
Yeah. All right. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Take care. My pleasure. Daniel Greenfield, ladies and gentlemen, Front Page Magazine columnist. It's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting because, we're still sitting here in 2013. The election is 3 years away. Now, you start running way before then, obviously, but the nitty-gritty of it is still, 2 years away before they start, or the primaries, a little less than 2 years away. It's going to be very interesting, though, because Hillary has so much baggage. And I just wonder, I don't know how someone on the left in the Democratic primary would handle it, but I just fear that whoever it is the Republican nominee, whoever it is, if it's Hillary as the nominee on the Democratic side, they're going to run. They're going to be afraid. They're going to concede. War on women, not going to want to criticize her, not going to want to question her, not going to want to bring up Benghazi, because you can't criticize a woman. It's going to be a disaster. I know it. I feel it. Disaster. All right, folks, when we come back, Jack Cashel joins us. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Larry works on the construction site when he's not held up with constipation. Mary sits all day at a desk, which does little to relieve gas and bloating. You can't schedule abdominal discomfort, but you can help alleviate it with Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic supplement that comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. It includes the most essential ingredients necessary to help support your healthy digestive and immune function. Experience the results. Learn how you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just visit Bactipro.com/offer. All you cover is a $4.95 shipping fee. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Do something about your digestive health now. Get your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/offer. That's BACTIPRO.com/offer. Limited time only. Bactipro.com/offer.
.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. In case you missed it, here's what happened live on CNN earlier this morning as President Obama was going down the handshake line at the memorial service for Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Give a listen to Christiane Amanpour go crazy here. Cut 31.
Now, there have been a lot of questions raised about security here, and before I came on, we were walking around and talking to security officials.
Castro, he's shaking hands with Raul Castro.
As Christiane points out, President Obama just shook hands with Raul Castro from Cuba. Now,
Dilma Rousseff of Brazil.
What does that say as a gesture?
It says that this is a moment of reconciliation for Mandela, and President Obama is doing the diplomatic thing. He's not just going to walk by and ignore these people who are there, and they're all in a line. He's kissing now the UN Secretary General, President Zuma.
This is a man, and it is so true, who brought people together in life, and he continues to bring people together in death.
All right, there you go, if you could take it. And joining us now is Jack Cashill, an independent writer, producer. You read him at WorldNet Daily, and he's executive editor of Ingram's Magazine in Kansas City. Hey, Jack.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having me on the show. It's been a while. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to talk to you. So your take on what took place in South Africa today?
Well, I'm most amused by the pictures of President Obama yucking it up with the Danish Prime Minister. I don't know if you've seen those.
No, what was that?
They take a selfie. She's very good looking.
Oh, the selfie picture. Yes, I did hear about that. Yes.
But then he's over there being chummy with her, and then next thing you know, you see these sour-faced Michelle next to Obama on his left. Next thing you know, Michelle is sitting between Obama and the Prime Minister. And they all seem to be sulking at that point.
Right. No. I heard about the sour expression of Michelle. Seems we've seen it before. But what about the handshake?
Well, I heard John McCain's response, which was, McCain, you never know whether he's going to say the right thing or not. But this time, I think and I agree with McCain. He said this guy's, he's still presiding over a monstrous regime that imprisons Americans among other people. And why are we shaking this guy's hand?
Well, it's the same reason he wanted to shake the president of Iran's hand.
Yeah. Is it for Obama? The mindset of a Barack Obama is that, oh, yeah, I know Castro's there, but are we any better? We're all flawed. We're all, semi-equal. We all kill people and imprison people and torture people. Who are we to say that America is better than Castro? That's the kind of thought process Obama grew up in. The kind of thought process most college students are exposed to today. And the thought process that unfortunately dominates most of the world leadership.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Now we're going to play you cut 33 and listen to what Obama said and then think about the handshake and what he did. Here's 33.
There are too many leaders who claim solidarity with Madiba's struggle for freedom but do not tolerate dissent from their own people. And there are too many of us on the sidelines, comfortable in complacency or cynicism, when our voices must be heard.
So there you go. Which one is the real Obama, as if I didn't know?
Right. At least he has a fresh audience there who are going to cheer him probably as much as they did Mugabe. So when you've exhausted your own natural audience who know you much too well to get excited about anything you've said, then it's always good to go overseas and find someone, an audience that knows nothing about you other than what you look like and what they've been told on their one or two TV channels.
Well, we're talking to Jack Cashill. You read him at WND.com, and he's also the executive editor at Ingram's Magazine in Kansas City, and author, of course. And you predicted, of course, and tell the folks about your. You read Obama right from the beginning, and in one of the and you wrote a book about it.
Right. I think we talked about this, Steve, during the 2008 election.
Absolutely.
Cycle, but I was the one who originated the thesis that Barack Obama did not write his own books, and that Bill Ayers was be the primary craftsman for the initial book, Dreams from My Father, which book, by the way, was proclaimed by Time magazine as the best written memoir ever produced by an American politician. His genius mythology was based on that book.
Yeah.
And on first reading, any literate person who knows anything about writing style should have been able to say, too good. Not Obama, not the Obama I know, not the Obama who wrote Breaking the War Mentality at Columbia, where he couldn't get a sentence verb to agree with a noun. There are 5 sentences in an 1,800-word essay in which the noun and verb don't agree. That's just a few years before he writes this book.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's like one day you're out shooting double bogey golf, and the next day your friends see you, you're walking around wearing a green jacket. You're telling people you won at the Masters. No, it doesn't happen that way,
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Everyone should have been suspicious, and they weren't. I mean, people are catching on now, but now we're 5 years into this, and we see that not only was he a fraudulent author, and which he compounded it by saying at the time, he was speaking to a convention of school teachers in 2008, and he said, I've written 2 books in this year, and then he goes, and actually I wrote them myself, and now they laugh and applaud because Republicans are too stupid to write their own books, and But we saw this pattern, of lying gratuitously, lying when you don't have to lie, lying when, just for the sake of lying, just like as we all, even his supporters now, have finally come to realize that the man is unbound by the truth. And we're all suffering the consequences of it.
We are all suffering as a consequence, and we're going to continue to suffer as a consequence. The nuclear option in the Senate felt its first tremor today when the first judge was passed by the Senate. All they needed was 51 votes. They got it, and she will sit on the D.C. Circuit Court. And this is just the first of many, many appointments. Whether it be to the NLRB, which he's going to go ahead and do, and while the Republicans try to stop it in court, to the Supreme Court, or whether it's to the so-called death panels and the Obamacare bill, they're all going to need just 51 votes. And I wouldn't be surprised if he, God forbid, got to appoint another Supreme Court justice, that they wouldn't use the nuclear option for that as well.
No, exactly. And don't I pray that all our guys stay alive for the next 3 years?
You better. You really better. And even the swing vote, if he changed that. I mean, these are people who are going to sit on that court and all these courts in all these positions for 40 the next 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, when you look around, Steve, and you say, we really have 3 more years of this? I mean, it seems like it's a nightmare that's already, past its sell-by date.
But by the way, let me interrupt. I just saw the latest Quinnipiac poll. Obama's approval rating at 38%. That's out just now. So it's not getting any better for him. He could go around talking about minimum wage and wage inequality and, and all this garbage, whatever it is, the topic of the day. But it's not changing the fact that people still don't trust him and people still don't believe him.
And if you exclude the African-American vote, which is still in the 90s, approval, you're down to 25-30%.
Well, that's because that's because America's racist.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You got to remember that. All right, so let me ask you about this scenario going forward. If the Republicans, if this continues, if people, are onto this guy, and they send a message loud and clear, and seats are gained in the House, and the Republicans retake the Senate. And the message is, just there's no question about it. Does this House, and I think the answer is no, unfortunately, does this House and this Senate, do they have the guts to impeach and convict and spare us the last 2 years or the last year and a half of the Obama presidency?
I very seriously doubt it unless he does something just spectacularly egregious. And
you mean like change the law, like decide what laws to enforce and what laws not to enforce, and give people exemptions from law? All we heard as an argument for Obamacare during the shutdown was it's settled law. Well, it's not settled law because Obama keeps changing it whenever he wants.
No, and when you read what the Georgetown professors were saying at the hearing
Turley, I had Turley on. It's an imperial presidency. He said this is what the founding fathers feared. I mean, that's why I don't get it. Ted Cruz understands this. So many of them, Alan Dershowitz to a degree understands it. Many people understand it, but, nothing's getting done. And
part of the reason is, unfortunately, and this, that at least half the American population pays very little attention. And they need something dramatic and sexy to waken them up, and unless they're awoken, then it would be suicidal for the Republicans to try to impeach the president.
All right, where's Monica Lewinsky? Where is she?
Exactly. I mean, if it can't play on ETV, it's not going to work in terms of the larger media, and that's unfortunate. It's true. Obamacare has at least the virtue, in terms of a political virtue, of hitting people where they live. I mean, Benghazi didn't have that. The IRS scandal didn't. Right.
Now people are feeling this.
NSA spying scandals, et cetera. Unless you start hitting people at home or entertaining them provocatively, they'll remain quiescent for the most part.
Well, 100 million people at home are going to feel it next year, and that'd be after the election. So it would be after the election that they'd know about it around election time, but the policies would be canceled after the election at the end of the year, and then they might be in such a mood that the climate might just be right. And again, I'm not saying make anything up. In my mind, when you say we're not going to enforce this law, we're going to enforce that law, I'm going to give this one an exemption to this law. I mean, I'm going to have executive orders left and right and have regulations through the EPA that are going to. I mean, it just doesn't stop. I've never seen anything like this, and I just think, to me, it's impeachable. But that's just me. Anyway, so what do you think going forward? I mean, how does he get? Can he turn it around for himself? I mean, 3 years is a long time, but what does he need to do to turn it around by the 2014 elections for himself and his party?
I'm not sure there's anything he can do because, I recall, and there's a lot of pundits were talking during the government shutdown for 2 weeks, and the soft right were saying, "Oh, this is horrible. We'll never recover. We should be talking about Obamacare." And I'm thinking to myself, hold it. We're going to be talking about Obamacare for the next 3 years. It's not bad to take a 2-week break in which you tell the world we're trying everything we can to defund this program. And I don't think there's any relief for Obama. There'll be little spikes when he does something grand and glorious, and the media pumps him up like they're trying to do in South Africa. But I think it's a long slog towards oblivion for Obama.
Yeah,
that's not to say, but he's still governing, and right now he has at least one in the Senate chamber to support him, and he has the media still behind him.
Absolutely, and that Senate chamber, unfortunately, it could confirm his appointments with a simple majority. Hey, Jack, good to talk to you. We'll have you back. Appreciate it.
Hey, Steve, anytime, sir. Thank
you. Jack Cascio, ladies and gentlemen, writer, producer, best-selling author. Read him at WND.com. Here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, so is the health care law Obama's Iraq? I could think of other analogies to make, but our next guest, Ramesh Ponnuru, says that it is. We'll talk with him when we return right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Interesting headline on Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy's stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison, a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality. and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Wow, you look great. Thanks. I've lost some weight. What's your secret weapon? Actually, I do in fact have one. Really?
If you're looking for help in your weight loss efforts, remember this name, Metabio. It just may be the edge you've been looking for. Metabio is the nutritional weight loss breakthrough power-packed with 5 high-quality ingredients. Metabio supports healthy metabolism and promotes fat loss. It helps maintain your optimal weight and wellness when used as part of a healthy lifestyle. Now you can receive a 30-day supply of Metabio. Simply cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit themetabio.com/offer for complete details. Act now and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Practical Guide to Healthy Weight Management. Learn how you can try Metabio for 30 days at themetabio.com/offer. That's the metabio.com/offer. Hurry, only while supplies last at themetabio.com/offer.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
Okay, folks, welcome back. Coming up in the next hour of the Steve Malzberg Show, Congressman Tim Yuleskamp from Kansas will join us. There were reports that Congressman Ryan and Senator Murray and the Senate side, obviously, are close to a budget deal. That kind of flies in the face of everything we expected. We'll talk to Tim Yuleskamp about that. Michael Barone will join us. He will be with us to talk about, of course, his favorite thing, which is politics. And we'll also ask him about the Senate. Actually, his latest piece, which we are going to talk about, is Obama's pattern of appeasement. So we'll talk about the handshake with Raul Castro earlier today in South Africa at the funeral of Nelson Mandela. And then we will be joined for the last part of the show. We were going to have this woman. Remember yesterday we did a story. We talked to a woman who wrote a piece. She's the founder of Women for Men, and we had her on, and she talked about this great piece she wrote about why women need husbands. Well, there's a woman out there who will go nameless because she canceled on us. I was all excited. We had her book. It was Suzanne Venker, who we had yesterday, of course. And anyway, this other woman wrote a piece just blasting Venker and, very... mocking her in a mocking fashion, and I'm a woman, and blah blah blah. Who are you to tell me, blah blah blah. And I was really looking forward to that conversation, but of course, as so often the case with the left, when they find out who you are and that you don't agree with them, lots of times, not all the time, but some of the time, if not lots of times, you pick your lots or some or whatever. They decide no conversation is better than conversation. Speaking of conversation. Let me pull this out of the hat here. Do you remember this 911 call? This is from the George Zimmerman, The girlfriend of George Zimmerman, Samantha Scheib, made the call saying that George Zimmerman was throwing her things out and putting a gun in her face. Listen to cut number, this will be 26, Will. Listen to cut number 26, and I play this for a reason. Here it is.
She has his freaking gun breaking all of my stuff right now. No, this is not. She has his freaking gun breaking all of my stuff right now. No, this is not. Okay. I'm doing this again? You just broke my glass table. You just broke my sunglasses, and you put your gun in my freaking face.
Okay. So everybody thought, based on that 911 call, that George Zimmerman had flipped out again, and, you know, it proved he killed Trayvon Martin in cold blood, and he put his gun in his girlfriend's face. This after a prior incident with his ex-wife, or his estranged wife at the time, where she called 911 and claimed that he was pointing a gun at her and beating up her father, if I remember correctly, and then took all that back. Well, guess what? Guess what? This woman now says, he didn't put his gun in my face. He never pointed the gun at me. I didn't see his gun. I want to drop the charges. Isn't it a crime to call 911? Isn't it a crime to call 911 and say something and then say, no, it really didn't happen? Shouldn't you be prosecuted for calling 911 and lying? Isn't that lying to the police? Is that lying to law enforcement? I really don't get that. How that's possible. See if he could do 5:30 or 5:45, because obviously we can't do it now. But anyway, so George Zimmerman again. Now Zimmerman, interestingly enough, in this case, you may recall, made his own 911 call after this woman made one and said, look, I didn't do these things. You know, here's what she did, and I didn't do this, and I didn't pull a gun on her, and I don't know what she's talking about, blah, 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 blah. And he did that, and some people said, he's dumb like a fox. He knows law enforcement. He knows what to do. He knows how to get himself off the hook. That's why he made that 911 call. He's smart. Well, you know, unless he has this I go back to a Seinfeld episode where Kramer almost made this woman who was studying to be a nun leave the church when George wanted to convert to Greek Orthodoxy. Remember that? Kavorka, he had the power of the animal. Not Kavorka. Maybe it was. So he had to put garlic around that. Does George Zimmerman have the power that Kramer had over women? He does horrible things to them, and then they say, oh, no, I want to drop the charges. I was lying. I want him back. I don't think he has that kind of, charisma or appeal to women. But again, if I don't care if it's a woman or a man, and you call 911 and you're lying, you should be prosecuted for that. And that goes for this woman, if she was lying, Samantha Scheib. It goes for his estranged wife, whatever her name is or was. They called 911, and apparently what they said on the tape wasn't true. You know who's the only one who told the truth to the 911 operator out of, in my view, from what I know of these stories, between the estranged wife, this woman Scheib, and Zimmerman? Was Zimmerman in the Trayvon Martin 911 call. He's the only one who told the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Go figure that one out. All right, folks, we're coming back, and Congressman Tim Yuleskamp will join us at the top of the next hour. Lots to talk about with him. I'm sure he'll have very definitive opinion on the handshake with Raul Castro. On the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement.
You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system.
Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. Dozens of world leaders are in South Africa today to celebrate the life of iconic anti-apartheid leader Nelson Mandela. During the ceremony, President Obama raised some eyebrows by shaking hands with Cuban President Raul Castro. Castro smiled during the rare contact between the two. Obama was joined by Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton as part of the U.S. delegation. South African President Jacob Zuma and UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon also took part in the ceremony that took on a celebratory mood. In an address that drew thunderous applause, President Obama called on South Africans to apply the lessons of Mandela and act on his behalf and on the behalf of peace and justice.
While I will always fall short of Madiba's example, he makes me want to be a better man.
Meanwhile, back in Washington, Secretary of State John Kerry is trying to convince Congress to stall new sanctions against Iran. Kerry is testifying today in the midst of a strong push from a bipartisan group of senators for new sanctions against the Islamic Republic. The administration is fiercely opposed to the idea of any sanctions in this stage of the game, any new sanctions. Iran is counting on both sides to respect the Geneva Agreement so they can build confidence after 4 decades of poisonous relations. Iran's deputy foreign minister recently said that more sanctions could force that temporary thaw in the relationship to come to a close.
We do not trust what the American government does, and it is natural that the same feeling is there in America. What is important for the time being is we are entering into a new phase.
Also in D.C., Congress is working on a budget deal that could be announced this week. That deal could include an uptick in airline fees for customers to cover the rising cost of security at airports. And another partial shutdown of the government in Washington this week, but this time the weather is to blame. Non-emergency government workers were told to stay home Tuesday as the region continues to be pounded by snow and ice. Public schools in a number of areas, including Washington, as well as Philadelphia and parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, are also closed because of winter weather. The snow comes on the heels of this weekend's winter storm, which dumped several inches of snow on Philly and northern Maryland, as well as other parts of the country. And investigators continue to search for a family missing in the remote parts of Nevada. James Glanton and Christina McEntee, their 2 kids, along with a niece and nephew, reportedly went sledding on Sunday, but they never returned home. Meanwhile, temperatures in the area have plummeted to well below freezing. These 6 people were last seen in a silver Jeep about 20 miles from their home. And next up, a Newsmax exclusive with former Ohio Attorney General Ken Blackwell. House Speaker John Boehner says the GOP needs to be more sensitive to women. What does Blackwell have to say about that? Plus, an immigrant is rescued at sea. Next, the latest on the Coast Guard's search for others.
Men, this is the time in your life when you have more freedom to travel, more time for leisure, including an active lifestyle, even a renewed intimacy. The last thing you want is the hassle of an aging prostate. Frequent David Brownstein believes that prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. As a result, Dr. Brownstein has recently developed Prostate Revive, the dietary supplement specifically formulated to help improve and sustain normal prostate function. Learn more about how you can receive a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit prostaterevive.com/special for complete details. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. While supplies last, try Prostate Revive for 30 days at prostaterevive.com/special. That's prostaterevive.com/special.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
And rescued another off the coast of South Florida today. Officials say the rescued 42-year-old man was taken to the hospital in critical condition. That man was found aboard a homemade raft of 4 inner tubes tied together. He told the Coast Guard that 3 other people were also in the raft with him. The Coast Guard is still searching for those who are not yet accounted for. And Republicans are, quote-unquote, foolish to respond to complaints the GOP is waging a war on women, says Ken Blackwell, a former Ohio Secretary of State. He told Newsmax TV this during an exclusive interview. Blackwell's comments come just days after House Speaker John Boehner said the Republican Party must be more sensitive to women.
It would take someone with his or her head stuck in the ground to say that Republicans have a difficult time of communicating their message.
That's it for this edition of your Newsmax Now Update. I'm John Bachman. The Steve Malzberg Show is live now from New York.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling toll-free 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Well, I think what the president will say is the conversation you're just having, that this is a moment of reconciliation, it's a moment of tribute to a great man, and it was not a time to make a political statement, so you shake hands out of respect for the moment and move on.
Folks, there you have John King's analysis of President Obama shaking hands with Raul Castro of Cuba earlier today in South Africa at Nelson Mandela's memorial service. Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show. And we are joined right now by Congressman Tim Yuleskamp, Republican from the great state of Kansas. Hello again, Congressman.
Hey, Steve. Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. Great to talk to you. So, what do you make of the handshake?
Well, I was trying to see and read some lips and see what he exactly said, Steve. Near as I could tell, he leaned in and asked Castro, could you give me some pointers on the health care system? But, I mean, my goodness, here is a man still keeping people in prison, and the president cozies up to him. And, I mean, this is quite embarrassing and quite a major mistake, except I think it was planned ahead of time. It wasn't an accident. Those things are all prearranged, but very embarrassing and sends a pretty clear signal, along with the signal we sent last week to Iran, is just continue to do what you're doing and we'll look the other way.
And, of course, does this make up, I wonder, in his own mind for failing to shake the hand of the Iranian president at the United Nations after he was rebuffed?
Yeah, well, it says a lot about this administration's commitment to liberty around the world, and they're willing to look the other way. And we've seen previous administrations in the past that took a stance that will accommodate, whether it be the Soviet Union or other folks, rather than being a pillar for liberty and freedom around the world.
I mean, is this a big deal? Rand Paul was on earlier, and he said, let's not make more of it than it is. Then you've had, Congressman Roth Layton saying that it made her nauseous, and she held up a picture at the hearing with Kerry and blasted the whole handshake, and Rubio blasted it. Do you think it's that big a deal or not?
Well, when you tie it together with other actions, whether it's dealing with Iran and say, hey, you can keep your what you develop on your nuclear weapon capability and numerous other things. I mean, this administration has taken a complete U-turn from the previous administrations and said, you know what, we're going to accommodate these regimes that attack liberties, and in the past, even Democrats. Presidents have said no. We're going to actually say no. We're going to be a leader in the world for freedom and liberty. So it's one amongst many that I think you've seen out of this administration and the Secretary of State's office.
All right, let me ask you about the budget. I'm hearing reports that there are talks that are close to fruition between Ryan in the House and Murray in the Senate. Are we close to a budget deal?
We're hearing many of the same rumors. I made a prediction with some of my constituents yesterday and over the weekend that if Washington does the same thing they always do, they'll come to a bipartisan agreement to raise spending for everybody. And that seems to be the deal that's in the work, to undo the only spending cut since in years, perhaps decades, the sequester, and replace it with even more spending. And that's a deal that conservatives can't accept, and it's going to add to the deficit. It's going to say, hey, we got cuts today. We're going to put those off till sometime in the future. That's the Washington way, Steve. That's the rumors we've heard, and the Democrat Party will support that, and the leadership in the House will support that, and 30 or 40 or 50 others, and then it'll pass on to the president. But it will do nothing to get to the underlying problem in Washington, that's spending too much money.
So you and the other conservatives, hardline, I wouldn't say hardline, Tea Party people that they're referred to, and not in a derogatory sense here, just for clarification,
sure.
You're a no vote, and you believe they're a no vote. So this is something that will pass mostly with Democratic votes in the House?
Well, the only way it could pass, I think, would be with Democrat votes. At the end of the day, I'm guessing less than half the Republicans would support it. I mean, for the last 2 years, our leadership has told conservatives, particularly on the House side, that, you know what, we kept the sequester. That's the only spending cuts we've ever had. That's the biggest deal we've achieved in 3 years of majority in the House. They're just about ready to trade that away, just like they did last December. They undid part of the sequester last December, and they undid part of it the December before. It's the typical end-of-the-year deal, and I think the American people are tired of the same old way. It's status quo. It's another addition of $100 billion in new spending that just 2 weeks ago, actually a little more than 2 weeks ago, during the debate over the government slowdown or shutdown, Steve, they said, hey, at least we have the sequester, and we're never going to give that up, and that's just about what they're ready to do, and that's certainly a no vote for me and any other conservative.
Are you disappointed in Ryan, which I think is obvious, and why do you think they're going down this road?
I don't know why. We'll see what they finally announce. It's hard to speculate on the reasoning that will come along with this proposed deal.
Could it be they don't want any controversy? They just think that, moving forward to 2014, healthcare, and nothing but. They don't want to muddy the waters with the PR and the whole thing?
That could be, but it's status quo. It's more of the same, more spending. That's how we got to this problem. You wonder what happened when we took over the House with Republicans. What's the difference? We're still spending more money than we were before. We're still putting off the needed reforms to entitlement that Paul Ryan has talked about for years. I've only been here 3 years. He's talked about it a long time before then. We're just throwing those away and saying, you know what, we're not going to deal with that this year, but the costs continue to mount up. It's time we stand up. It's time Washington, D.C. would listen. And so, yeah, I'm disappointed with the details as we see them now. They may not come out that way. They may not be able to pass that through the House, but we'll find that out hopefully in the next couple of days.
Let me give you some numbers. Quinnipiac University poll just out. Obama's approval rating at 38%. That's down from November 12th, 1 point, so statistically it's the same. But his approval rating among young voters in the poll, 18 to 29, down to 41%, down to 50% with Hispanics, because he was way up with Hispanics. And when you look at independents, 30%. And I'm looking also here. For the first time, 47% majority of voters said they would like to see Republicans take control of both the House and the Senate. So Terrible, terrible news for Obama and the Democrats, and pretty good news for you guys.
Well, 11 months to go before an election, and far too many people in Washington look at those polls and try to decide what they're going to do. But at the end of the day, what you don't see in Washington, D.C. on either side generally is a vision of where we head from here. You know, for the Democrat Party, it's Obamacare and massive deficits for years to come. For Republicans, we don't like Obamacare. We can't get rid of it. We're going to have slightly smaller than massive deficits for years to come. And we haven't passed a single plan through the House. We haven't brought one to the floor as a replacement for Obamacare, and I think it's high time we did that. We should bring tax reform to the floor. But far too often in Washington, Steve, my concern is that Republicans are not presenting an alternative. Simply being against Obama didn't work 11 months ago, and well, it remains to be seen whether doing nothing for the next 11 months, or I guess 11 months going forward till the next election is going to win it for Republicans. I don't think so. I think people are looking for a vision. What are we going to do to save Medicaid care? What are we going to do to save Social Security? What are we going to do to make sure we don't have massive deficits for years to come, and this plan will be just another deal?
Yeah. I mean, wasn't Ryan supposed to address all that?
That was the plan. I mean, we've had 3 straight Ryan budgets passed through the House, and that was all part of it. We had a deal amongst Republicans last January in Williamsburg, Virginia. We sat down, closed the doors, we worked out these details. We said this is exactly what we weren't going to do. We weren't going to put off what we need to decide today. Paul Ryan's been talking for years. We got to face the music about past decisions. We got to move forward now. Every day we put it off, every year we waste, put it off, makes it harder for the day of reckoning. That will inevitably come in the future, Steve.
Congressman, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you. Tim Yuleskamp, ladies and gentlemen, representing the 1st Congressional District in the great state of Kansas. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the great senior political analyst at the Washington Examiner, Michael Barone will join us. So always great to talk to Michael. We'll talk to him about Obama, his latest piece on Obama. But also later on in the program, I do want to talk about the higher deductibles and about a kid who was suspended. I think he's 6-year-old from school. You know what he pretended to do? He pretended to shoot arrows with his pencil. If you're watching me, this is you pull back on the pencil and pretended to shoot arrows, and he got suspended. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night, but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting, and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or two of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks. I don't know how this happened. I don't know if Michael Barone picked up the phone to Barack Obama and said, look, I'm going on the Malzberg show. I just wrote this great piece at National Review Online, and it talks about really your pattern of appeasement, sir. Could you do something really earth-shatteringly, breathtakingly appeasing so we could talk about it in conjunction with the piece on the Malzberg show? And the president did it. He shook the hand of Raul Castro in South Africa earlier today at the memorial service for Nelson Mandela. Joining us now to talk about all of this is Michael Barone, senior political analyst at the Washington Examiner, author of his great new book, Shaping Our Nation, How Surges of Migration Transformed America and Its Politics. Hello, Michael.
Hey, good to be with you, Steve.
So how did this all go down? Did the president call you? Did you call him? Did he say, whose hand should I shake? Or
I've got this all wired with the president while he's doing his Neville Chamberlain invitation. I wrote this column about that appeared in the Washington Examiner on Monday about the Obama foreign policy, such as it is, where we're basically going away from the post-Cold War pattern that we had to a large extent with President Bill Clinton and George W. Bush of remaining friendly with our friends and gingerly embracing our former adversaries, Russia and China. And Obama seems more intent on sticking a finger in the eye of our friends and kissing up to our enemies. And he seems to be doing it particularly when he had, as he wanted to make sure Vladimir Putin knew, quote, more flexibility, unquote, in his second term.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, but before we get in, a great piece, but I just want to get your reaction. I mean, were you surprised that he shook Castro's hand? Do you think it was pre-planned? Could it have happened by accident?
Well, he had a fairly warm interchange with the late Hugo Chavez.
Yeah, big bear hug, and they exchanged. He gave him a book, the whole thing.
Who had referred to his predecessor, George W. Bush, as the devil, but maybe Obama didn't consider that to be an inaccurate representation, considering a lot of the rhetoric that he, unlike his several predecessors, is indulged in at the expense of the president who came before him.
Right.
I was surprised that he shook the hand of Raul Castro. I mean, these people the Castro brothers have been running an odious dictatorship now for more than 60 years. There's a lot of enlightened liberals will stick up their nose and say, these Cuban Americans that are opposed to Castro, they're sort of vulgar. and they get enthusiastic and get carried away and start cheering. Well, and start, razzing the Castro brothers. They've really been running an odious dictatorship. And by the way, this is a dictatorship that's imprisoned poets and homosexuals for being poets and homosexuals. That's not something that I'm in favor of, even though, there's some poets in the U.S. that seem to give some of us on the right half of the political spectrum a little bit of heartburn.
Yeah, I would say we're talking to Michael Barone here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, and in your piece, you also talk about the alliances that have been formed because Obama has screwed up our foreign policy so bad. That's my word, not yours. But, of course, our traditional alliances, like you said, stick a finger in the eye of our allies, embrace our murderous enemies, as he's done, and it's brought other people. It's brought Israel and Saudi Arabia together, Russia and China together. And who knows where it's going to stop?
Well, there's this hugely clumsy approach that he's had to Syria, where he said in August 2012, before he had that more flexibility in his second term, that use of chemical weapons would be a red line. Then he said in 2013, when they did use chemical weapons incontrovertibly, that, hey, it's the world's red line and it's not really a problem, and basically subcontracted his policy to Vladimir Putin. We're supposedly disarming the Syrian regime, but we have to take their declaration of where they have chemical weapons,
right.
Good faith. Well, that good faith and $4.95 will give you a cup of Starbucks.
And Michael, you start out your piece and wind it up wonderfully going back to it. And you talk about how you're reading Christopher Clark's The Sleepwalkers, how Europe went to war in 1914, all about preceding, a year or so preceding the start of World War I. And he talks about what took place and how it led up to it. And now you end by saying that sudden reversals of policy, shifting alliances, secret negotiations are reminiscent of what Christopher Clark wrote about in the lead up to World War I. And here it's happening here with Obama.
Well, that's right. Reversals of policy is on Syria, shifting alliances, where he seems to be lining up with what Walter Russell Mead calls the Central Powers. That was the term for the allies of Germany in World War I, China, Iran, and Russia, on our negotiations with them to let them keep their centrifuges contrary to the United Nations resolution, and secret negotiations. It turns out we had a secret negotiating track with the Iranians for the last 5 months. That simply wasn't disclosed.
Right, even though we were told that after the refused handshake at the United Nations, Obama picked up the phone, called the president, and then they decided to start these talks, and which led Kerry, if you remember, to say, I think we could do something in a few weeks. And people said, what the heck's he talking about? And, of course, they had all been talking for a year.
Yeah, this is something that's, if you read that Christopher Clark book, The Sleepwalkers, you have these same kind of machinations and ill-thought-out wobbliness on foreign policy and sending mixed signals and so forth in the years before World War I, and that resulted in catastrophe. And I have to say that when we have a situation like China declaring this air zone of over large parts of the East China Sea, including islands claimed by and held by Japan and South Korea, and when you've got us saying to the Iranians, well, you can keep your centrifuges, those old UN resolutions were just a superstition, I start to fear blundering into war. You contemplate World War I, and war can turn out to be a pretty terrible thing.
Yep.
None of those leaders really wanted the kind of war that happened, but the Battle of the Somme, July 1st, 1916, British casualties, 60,000 one day. That's the kind of horror that can be unleashed from unsteady statesmanship. So it's something I'm concerned about.
Michael, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Steve.
Take care. Michael Barone, ladies and gentlemen. All right, when we come back, we're going to have some time to play you some sound bites, which we really haven't had time to do today because we just talked to everybody that you want us to talk to. The fascinating people, the newsmakers, the movers, the shakers. Anyway, we'll come back and we will play you some sound, and then we'll be joined after that by Ramesh Pamaru here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS, or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Constipation, gas, bloating, most people suffer through. But now, there's a simple solution for occasional digestive problems called Bactipro. Developed by holistic medical doctor David Brownstein, Bactipro is the fiber probiotic formula that supports healthy digestive and immune health. And it comes in the form of an easy-to-eat, tasty wafer. Bactipro contains 6 powerful strains of beneficial probiotic bacteria, dietary fiber, and bacteria-nourishing prebiotics, plus powerful antioxidants. Now, you can receive a 30-day supply of Bactipro. Just cover a $4.95 shipping fee. Visit Bactipro.com/special. Act now, and you'll also be given instant access to our downloadable special report, A Doctor's Guide to Probiotics and Your Health. Improve your digestive health now. Learn how you can receive your 30-day supply at Bactipro.com/special. That's BACTIPRO.com/special. Bactipro.com/special.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560, 800-831-1560, 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
9.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream. Streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, we are back. Take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. All right, now we can do what we want to do here in this segment where we are guest free. So I want you to see, folks, I have railed on the Obama family Christmas card, the official White House Christmas card for years. For years. You know, don't forget, and do I believe that Obama's a Christian? Absolutely. He says he is, okay? Devout Christian, mind you, because that's what he tells us he is. And, of course, all those years in the Reverend Wright's church, you know. Here's the latest Christmas card, which is perhaps unless I'm missing something, worse. Now, I can't. Can I read it? I can't. Okay, let's see. Let me read. Okay. I can't think of a Christmas card put out by this White House that even had a Christmas tree in it or on it. A Christmas tree, okay? Put up on the screen, and I'll describe for you folks who are listening on radio exactly what this White House. It's the White House. It looks like Bethany took this picture. It's the White House, and it's covered in snow. And it's got two little, I mean, they're not real black dogs. It's a model. It's like a cheesecake model of the White House. Put it back. Doesn't this look like a cheesecake model, like a cheesecake made to look like the White House, or an ice cream cake, okay? Covered in snow, and it's got two little black dog figures representing the two White House dogs, and it says, as we gather around this season, may the warmth and joy of the holidays fill your home. Doesn't say anything about Christmas. Doesn't show anything about Christmas. It's disgraceful. Just disgraceful. And I'm not Christian. All right? I don't celebrate Christmas. But for crying out loud, have a Christmas tree. Say Merry Christmas. Have a wreath. Have an elf, for crying out loud. Nothing. Will, you see anything in there that's Christmassy? I don't see anything in there. I mean, I'm thinking maybe I'm missing something. Nothing. As we gather around this season, may the warmth and joy of the holidays fill your home. The end. Bye-bye. End of holiday card. Very sad. Very sad. All right, let's move on. Let's see. They say here in the recent years, it's become an Obama family tradition to feature Bo on the annual White House holiday card. That's just great. Because isn't Christmas all about dogs? I love my dog, but is that what Christmas is? Dogs? Okay. The family's not even in this one. Just the dogs. I don't know. Okay. Did you see this one? It's a little hard to hear, but this is Congresswoman Ann Custer from New Hampshire. She's at a town hall meeting, and someone asks her about Benghazi. And she's a Democrat, by the way, obviously. And someone says, are you supporting a select congressional committee, House committee on Benghazi? This woman is like, she never heard the word Benghazi. She gets panicky. She doesn't know what to say. And then her people have to start saying, well, we're not talking about that. We're here to talk about the Middle East. And the woman says, Benghazi is in the Middle East. It's just bizarre. I hope you can hear it. Let's go to cut 16.
Okay, first, Kimberly, please let me know your position on House Resolution 36 that will authorize a select committee to get to the bottom of Benghazi. I don't have that. It's a Senate, I think. I don't think we have anything about that in the House. And the rest of this is also in Benghazi. So,
can you address Benghazi? What are you going to do about Benghazi? Why isn't Benghazi at the top of your issue?
Well, I'm certainly not here to talk about it. We're here to talk about the Middle East.
That is the Middle East.
This woman looks at the questioner like, first of all, she was reading her own cards. She took questions off cards from the audience. So she's reading, and then she says, select committee on Benghazi? Like, what? What's Benghazi? And then she's like, I don't know anything about this. And the woman says, can you talk about Benghazi? And she said, well, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the Middle East. What? Is this woman for real? And they're saying, wait, the Benghazi is in the Middle East. What are you talking about? This woman, it's like this woman walked in off the street, had never heard of Congress or Benghazi, and they made believe she's a congresswoman taking questions. Oh, I can't talk about cows. I'm here to talk about milk. Or I can't talk about milk production. I'm here to talk about farming. What? That's basically what she said. I'm talking about the Middle East. I can't talk about Benghazi. All right. Okay, what can I tell you? Now. Let's go to Friday's Politics Nation on MSNBC. NBC. Karen Finney accusing Republicans of practicing apartheid, or their own form of apartheid, which, of course, was the policy in South Africa that, separated blacks and whites and gave, virtually no rights to blacks, the whole thing. And so, of course, Republicans are doing that now. Don't you know? In the sick, twisted, demented minds of the MSNBC world, Republicans are practicing apartheid. Here's cut 24.
If you think about what the word apartheid means, it's apartness. It was all about separating people and dividing people. That's what this Republican Party has been about for the last several years.
And castigating and denigrating and demonizing people.
And castigating and denigrating and demonizing people. Al should know all about that. Al Sharpton, ladies and gentlemen. Now, whenever I say that, I should applaud, because the Reverend really deserves applause. Separated, castigating, this guy who called Greeks homos, who called David Dinkins, the first black mayor of New York, the N-word, who talked about, I don't even want to go into it anymore. Please, you know all about Al Sharpton. But yeah, Karen Finney, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, Republicans are separating and dividing people. Republicans? How about the divider-in-chief? He's the same guy as the liar-in-chief, Barack Obama. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? It's just, if you don't see it with your own eyes and hear it with your own ears, you think I'm making it up. Republicans, those hostage-taking, kidnapping, terrorists are now practicing apartheid, according to MSNBC. Now, let's stick at NBC. David Gregory, Meet the Press. This is about Mandela. But he turns this Mandela story into, as it was put by Kyle Drennan at Newsbusters, into a Obama love letter. What the heck are you talking about, Malzberg? Let's play cut 23.
The question I've heard most this week since Mandela's death is what his example could teach Washington. Throughout his life, Mandela refused to be consumed by hatred and insisted on working toward a common purpose with his political foes. That, seems to me, is what is missing from this era of argument in Washington. President Obama eulogized Mandela late Thursday afternoon, describing how Mandela inspired his own political awakening.
The day he was released from prison gave me a sense of what human beings can do when they're guided by their hopes and not by their fears.
And the election of our 44th president was similarly an example of how countries can overcome their past. Yet President Obama has struggled since he made history. He still aspires to achieve political consensus on some of the country's most pressing challenges. Mandela also faced obstacles, and while Obama only met the South African leader once, Mr. Obama clearly understands the meaning of Mandela.
He does? He understands the meaning of Mandela? In this country, as a president, referring to Republicans, to a Hispanic group as your enemies? The previous breath, I don't know what happened, I wasn't there. Well, he didn't claim racism. He said, but the cops acted stupid. I mean, do I have to go down the list? This man, as Walter E. Williams told us on Friday, is incapable of learning from Nelson Mandela. He's incapable of learning. He is the antithesis in many ways of Nelson Mandela. You think of Barack Obama? I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there. Let's put it this way. Nelson Mandela chose what the path that he thought would result in the best possible life for the people of his country. He did not seek retribution. Okay? He could easily have done that. He did not. You think Barack Obama would take that path? You think Barack Obama would emulate anything that was done by Nelson Mandela? I don't see the analogy. They're both black. They're both black historical figures, but I don't see any analogy. What could I tell you? All right, moving on. Moving on. Listen to this. MSNBC again. Brian Schachtman filling in on MSNBC Live wants to know, as he's talking to a Democratic congresswoman, wants to know, what are we doing to get the Obamacare talking points out? Like it would benefit him, like he's a Democrat. Here's cut 21.
I also want to point out these stats the White House just released. If all 50 states were on board, 5.4 million uninsured Americans would gain coverage. 8 in 10 of those would be paying less than $100 a month, all of which would actually save states about $10 billion over the next decade. So my question, Congresswoman, is what are we doing to get that message out there a little more?
Yeah, can I help you get the message out there a little more? Good talking point, Congresswoman, for Obamacare. What are you doing to get that message out? They make no bones. Who are these people? Okay. Oh, we said these people. Ooh, media matters. The red flag just went whoop, whoop, whoop. Deductibles. Folks, I wish I could go back and get the tape for you. And if I had all day to play, I probably could. But I don't. I have been talking about deductibles and how this is a word people are going to have to learn and how Barack Obama has never uttered the word. Listen to CBS this morning from Monday, Norah O'Donnell talking about Obamacare and what it's going to mean for your deductible cut 25.
The Wall Street Journal says health insurance customers are finding another problem under Obamacare. The new generation of policies have higher deductibles. Consumers have to pay more of their own money before insurance kicks in. The average deductible for the lowest level of insurance on healthcare.gov is more than $5,000.
I told you so. Oh, you young people, go ahead, sign up. Yeah, less than your cell phone bill, $50 a month. But you're going to have to pay the first average $5,000 in medical costs out of your own pocket. Don't you understand? People can't afford this. People can't afford that. This is a total, utter disaster. Deductibles. I told you this. And nobody's talked about it other than me for the most part until the Wall Street Journal wrote it and Norah O'Donnell on CBS read it. But you keep in mind, you keep that word out there, deductible. It will be in the lexicon of all of us very soon. Very, very soon. When 100 million of us lose our health insurance next year. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45 non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50 non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
If you're a man over 40, your prostate could be forcing you to urinate frequently, even disrupting your sleep multiple times each night. You're not alone. Over half of men over 40 experience age-related prostate concerns. Fortunately, prominent medical doctor David Brownstein believes that aging prostate concerns are not inevitable. That's why Dr. Brownstein developed Prostate Revive, an advanced dietary supplement containing a unique blend of 15 ingredients designed to promote optimal prostate health. So men, as part of this new radio promotion, you now have the opportunity to claim your own 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, containing saw palmetto, beta-cytosterol, and numerous other prostate helpers. Just cover a $4.95 shipping and handling charge. Plus, if you act now, you'll also get a doctor's guide to a healthy prostate as a bonus gift. Please visit prostaterevive.com/radio for details on getting your 30-day supply of Prostate Revive and free report. That's prostaterevive.com/radio. Do something about those annoying age-related prostate concerns. Visit prostaterevive.com/radio now while supplies last.
Meet John and Nancy. Like many people, John and Nancy have spent their whole lives working hard, saving their money and investing wisely, knowing that it would pay off in the end. But the reality is, today's world is not the same as it was. John and Nancy stocks have taken them on a serious roller coaster ride, and it's all but destroyed their retirement funds. Their house is not even close to being worth what they paid, and to boot, their middle-class paychecks no longer cover their costs. All that hard work and smart investing has gotten them nowhere. In fact, they are no longer thinking about when they will retire, they're wondering if they'll retire. Then one day, John and Nancy heard about a man named Tom Hutchison, a veteran of Wall Street for over 2 decades. Tom noticed that the wealthy invested differently than normal people, and their methods seemed to be a secret they didn't want to share. So Tom left his job, compiled the strategies, and published them in the controversial book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns. John and Nancy immediately picked up a copy, began investing, and never looked back. Thanks to Powerful Secrets, John and Nancy now have investments that pay up to 20% a year. They learned about unique tax-advantaged investments, and their favorite chapter revealed a strategy that anyone can use to turn $50,000 into $1 million. Now, John and Nancy have control of their financial future in this new reality, and they have peace of mind about their investments that they never had before. Best of all, they are back on track to a secure retirement. To get your free copy of the book, Powerful Secrets to Achieve Superior Returns, simply visit www.myfinancialage.org.
Drug, alcohol, and gambling addiction can be devastating for you and your loved ones. Don't let the disease of addiction ruin everything you've worked so hard for. The Treatment Helpline has helped thousands of people just like you take control of their addictions and live healthier, cleaner, and happier lives. You are not alone. Now there's hope. The Treatment Helpline has helped people just like you overcome their addiction. If you or a loved one is suffering from a drug, alcohol, or gambling addiction, let us help you today. Call 1-800-813-9821. Our seasoned addiction treatment professionals can show you how to use your private health insurance to help cover the costs of this life-changing program. Call now and get a free confidential consultation. 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821. Help is only a phone call away. Call 1-800-813-9821. That's 1-800-813-9821.
Get off the sidelines and be a part of the show. Call Steve toll free at 1-877-Newsmax. That's 1-877-639-7629. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome to the final segment of today's edition of the Steve Malzberg Show. And joining us now is senior editor at National Review, columnist for Bloomberg View, and a visiting fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Ramesh Panaru is with us. Hello, Ramesh. How are you?
Just great. How are you doing?
Good. Good to talk to you again. Want to talk to you about your piece that you penned for National Review, Obama's Iraq. But first, interested in your take on the handshake earlier today between Barack Obama and Raul Castro.
Well, you know, I think that there's a reason previous presidents have avoided this sort of gesture. It is something that the regime wanted, and that I think should have been withheld.
And what benefits does Castro's regime gain from this, in your opinion?
Well, it is a PR benefit. You know, it wants to be treated as a legitimate government, just a different government, and not as a tyrannical dictatorship that, by the way, is holding an American citizen unlawfully. And that handshake sort of communicates that the administration is willing to meet him part way.
Yeah, and you know, it makes you wonder just how far along in talks the U.S. might be with Cuba, because Obama craved that handshake at the UN with the Iranian president. He shunned him then led us to believe that he called him in his limousine and started negotiations. But then it turned out there had been talks going on behind the scenes for almost a year. One wonders if Cuba is getting the same treatment.
Right, and symbolic gestures do matter in foreign policy. It mattered when the president did not speak up for the Iranian protesters in 2009.
The Green Movement, yeah.
And now, and there seems to be a pattern here where where there's a real downplaying of human rights as a priority in U.S. foreign policy.
All right, let's talk about an interesting analogy. You compare, you say Obama lied, insurance plans died, which is a mocking or takeoff of the left chant of Bush lied, people died with regard to Iraq. I don't know, to come up with your piece and to read your piece, do you have to work under the assumption that Bush lied, or that Bush, had intentions regarding Iraq that didn't work out the way he envisioned it?
Right. Well, I start with this comparison that's, of course, been in the air a lot between the Iraq War and Obamacare, in that they're the major initiatives of two different presidents, and they both have become these great political millstones around their necks. And one of the things I point out is that actually the case that Bush lied about Iraq is flimsy.
Yeah.
He said things that turned out not to be true, but he believed them at the time, and everybody believed them at the time. All the world's intelligence services believed them at the time about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. If you compare it to what President Obama said, now arguably the things he said that weren't true about people being able to keep their insurance plans, people being able to keep their doctors, arguably those things were less momentous, but he knew that they were not true. He had very good reason to believe that they were not true, and in fact, it's been reported that the White House had some internal debates as to whether they should be more candid about these issues, and they decided that maybe candor wasn't the way to go.
Yeah. Now, the question, I've heard Newt Gingrich and others compare Obama's lie, if you will, to Nixon and Watergate, and Newt and others believing that this lie of Obama's is much more severe and significant. How would you rate the mistake in Iraq and the healthcare fiasco against each other?
Well, it's. I don't know whether you would say yet that you've got enough evidence, because the Iraq War, for example, it cost Republicans control of the House and the Senate, and we don't know yet how Obamacare is going to turn out politically, and we also don't know substantively. So that story is still being written. Can it recover from the early, pretty disastrous rollout? It seems to have gotten a little bit better, but it's not better by any yardstick other than, it's not as big a disaster as it was in October.
Right.
It's not succeeding by any yardstick anybody would have used pre-October.
No, absolutely not. All right, Ramesh Panaru, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you, sir.
Thanks very much for having me.
My pleasure. All right, senior editor, National Review, columnist for Bloomberg View, visiting fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, Ramesh Panaru. All right, folks, I appreciate you being out there today. They're awaiting a press conference which is supposedly going to announce a budget deal. We addressed that with Tim Yuleskamp earlier. He says, from what he's heard, that budget will be a capitulation to Democrats, get rid of sequester, increase spending, and a majority of Republicans in the House will vote against it. But it will pass with Democrat votes in the House and then, of course, the Senate. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.
The Steve